everyone, so for this video I'm going to give partial background to the new school in Harry Potter that we're introduced to, which is Ilvermorny, which is going to be somewhat of a part, I believe, in Fantastic Beasts and where they come from. And on the Pottermore website they put up like this whole background of how Ilvermorny came to be and how its founders, like, whole backstory and all this stuff. Which, it's a really long kind of article, so like I said, I'm going to be making 5 videos to sort of go through all of what this website has on the background of Ilvermorny. And on the side, I'm not the best at pronouncing names, so pretty much every time I say the name I'm going to pop up, at least at the first time I say it, how the name is spelled, so then you can maybe pronounce it better than I can. But I'm going to do my best. And so this whole story begins with the founder of Ilvermorny, which is Isolt. And she originally grew up in Ireland with her family on a farm. And her family is a descendant of Salazar Slytherin. And so she grows up on this farm, and her family is very friendly to all the muggles around them. And her family raises both magical creatures as well as normal creatures like cows and stuff that you would usually see on a farm. And then an accident happens on the farm where both of her parents are killed, and she's saved by this like distant aunt. And the name of this aunt is Gormalith Glant, I think. And so this aunt takes in Isolt when she's only like 5 because of this accident. And as the years go on, Isolt realizes that her aunt that saved her isn't actually someone who saved her, but actually is the person who kidnapped her and killed her parents. And she finds out why is because Gormalith believes that because of the fact that her family was so friendly with muggles, that Isolt one day would marry a non-magical person or a mudblood instead of marrying a pureblood like the descendants of Salazar Slytherin should be doing. So the aunt decided to kill her parents and raise her as her own to make sure that she does marry pureblood. And so they are going through all this massively, somewhat abusive, I feel, relationship where Isolt now has to watch as Gormalith pretty much tortures and messes with both people and creatures. And Isolt loses a lot of her friends that she originally had. And those friends actually start to sort of turn on her and start to throw rocks at her and all this terrible, just terrible stuff. And Isolt felt that her only escape ever would be the day that she gets her letter to go to Hogwarts. But when she gets this letter, her aunt decides to pretty much tear it up and make it not happen, with Gormalith believing that Isolt would learn way more from her than she would ever at Hogwarts. And that Hogwarts is just a terrible, terrible place, she describes to Isolt. Because Gormalith originally went to Hogwarts as a member of Slytherin, and she believes that Hogwarts has completely taken its turn from Salazar Slytherin's original idea that it'd be this place for purebloods to meet and just be an entire race of purebloods, but that isn't happening. So Gormalith doesn't want Isolt to go to Hogwarts. And so over the next 12 years, Gormalith sort of raises Isolt and teaches her a bunch of really dark magic and all this stuff until eventually the day comes where Isolt decides to run away. And when she runs away, she steals her aunt's wand, because it's the only wand available, which ends up also being the original wand of Salazar Slytherin. So she takes the wand and she takes this gold knot brooch that once belonged to her mother, and she runs away from Gormalith. And so she constantly is moving around for a while with the fear that Gormalith is right on her tail, so she stays in London for a while. But then that fear that Gormalith is coming for her finally takes over enough that she decides to shave her head and disguise herself as a boy to get on the Mayflower and head to America in the 1600s. And that all works out, and she gets to America, where eventually she breaks off from the other pilgrims and goes and sort of lives in the mountains and woods and stuff, because she doesn't believe that any of the other pilgrims in America are also wizards. and she doesn't think that there is any wizards in America, so she kind of decides to live on her own for a while. And then one day when she's going through these woods, she runs into two different magical creatures, one being a hide-behind, which is a creature that basically the name helps to describe it, where it's very good at hiding behind stuff. So she finds that, and a pukwudgie, which is a creature that I'll go more into detail on another video that I'm going to make about all the different houses of Ilvermorny, so you'll learn a bit more about a pukwudgie there. But she finds this pukwudgie and hide behind fighting, and the pukwudgie is just getting absolutely beaten up. And so Isolt casts a spell to scare away the hide behind, and then she takes in the pukwudgie, unaware of the fact that pukwudgies have a history of being very mean to humans. But she's unaware of that, so she takes the pukwudgie in and sort of nurses it back to health. And in a thank you for that, the pukwudgie decides to sort of become like her servant and her protector, and to take care of her as she travels around in America, and sort of introduce her to all this other magical creatures and prove that there is sort of a magical world in America as well as in England. So she travels around with this pukwudgie as her servant and her protector, but the pukwudgie refuses to tell her his name. So instead, Isolt decides to call her William after her father. And that's the part that I'm going to give in this video. So that's sort of the whole beginning journey of how Isolt got to America. And I'll be making a next part on more of her adventures in the woods and some of the other founders that she runs into that eventually create Ilvermorny in the next video. So, yeah. Bye!